Yeah, so we're kind of in the middle, so. Chad made me live on one side, basically, this way, and then
That's what it needs to be. That's what it was when we were growing up. Everyone, like my three aunts and uncles, like we all lived within a mile. My grandmother lived within a mile. It was just amazing. That's what we were supposed to see.
Yeah, and then my grandparents, I think they're usually 5 minutes up the road from us, so. Yeah.
Like it's got enough going on.
And I've been there for 8 years now, so they still live in the house that they built,
Of
so.
course they do.
He's 97 and she's 94.
That's something else. So how's your trip going so far?
We got another couple of soccer projects, we haven't been doing much, just kind of hanging out.
Right. Trying to figure out where to eat, get out, be comfortable, it's different.
It just is.
So we're over by the Mall of America.
Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's open, right?
It is, we didn't have a chance to get there, like today we woke up, we had breakfast, and then we did signs and stuff like that, and then, they're basically, they have apartments and stuff.
Yeah.
We took out last night for food, I took out some.
Oh, fantastic. That's the way to do it. Yeah. So what school is it like for you guys, you know?
Online computers.
Nice.
And then, the teachers will be in the class all, they'll have actual school every 45 minutes. That's like meetings, which is much better. And then on-site learning will be for the disabled.
Sure.
And the learning disabled, they'll
Okay,
get
so
help.
great. Yeah.
Your other schools have said that they would open up in the area now that we're
I believe that.
Yes.
How are we gonna get you all these pictures? Oh my God. That's, I wonder if that was in front of my house. Yeah. Wow. I can't even.
I know, right?
I can't even.
So there are plans and it's in motion, it'll probably be.
We did it. We did it.
I would say.
I can't wear my
You
glasses.
know, just driving
It's
here to the hospital. I mean, JP had his ALS appointment. I'm so sorry, I missed it.
That's right.
Something that was useful to have, not just to have.
I'm just getting afraid of not laid off from this job.
So I have to see, I haven't been.
And then a little unemployment, but it is such a blow.
So,
I
fiberglass has been, extended.
No, he's done. They laid him off. Yeah. He's 66.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. We're not sure. We're gonna get rid of one of the cars. We
No, that's my
don't
brother
need
Chad's
cars
working.
now.
Chad's over there in the
It's a
left.
process and, it's
help.
going on. Definitely.
Well, he's over there. No one loves the Packers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. This,
Yeah, he's nation.
there's actually
Probably, we have a job. Probably.
there's a teacher. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, from 35. So, it was fine.
We did good from it.
Yeah, just a silly number. But,
That means a lot. That means a lot.
My wife, Tracy, and my daughter, Gabrielle.
I put them on all the
Yeah, there's a lot of pictures still there.
And the kids do those signs.
Oh, darn.
They did a whole bunch of them. Gabby did the artwork. Gabrielle, my granddaughter.
Yeah, did she really? Oh.
Yeah, those are all his albums.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I was wondering.
I'm Chad Schrader. We'll be picking them up when we leave here and trying to bring to the dog house in time. So yeah, they're gonna be with us for the rest of the afternoon. We'll be picking them up permanently in a couple weeks. So 2 weeks from today. Yes, appears as though, COVID's really hampered, any of so much of the visitation, and she's not feeling well today or this week, and so the exchange of verbally at the door has been, but house looks fine, looks good, so she'll be, I believe that she takes possession of her next place in 2 weeks, so she'll be moving out to town.
The same kind of thing that we go give her.
Yeah, but so.
I think it'll be
Yeah.
perfect timing.
29th, I think, is when she started. She done with the program at that time?
I think she finishes on September 11th.
Great to meet you and see you.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the only reason I remember it.
You and I both got really small faces. It's really hard. So we didn't think I was bugging you. I was just really funny because I know what was going on. Yeah.
Very good. Well, that was his wish.
Surprisingly fast. I'd seen him just, not all like, whatever, just about house. I didn't think he was.
Oh, good.
And it probably was a good decision, to have one person, not have people coming in. So, Monday, Wednesday, is one way.
But hard to only have one as well, because that's it, that's all you have.
Yeah.
And she did great.
All of them.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
It's hard on both of them.
So I think it's your first, that's
Yeah, if you guys came over to leave, Susan came on Saturdays.
oh, yeah.
I think some of the dog walking still happen. Not maybe as frequently,
Were
but
you one of the people they sent for a walk? You were.
thank you so much, yeah. He's just a really great spirit. Really is, yeah. Just a great.
Oh,
Yes,
let's say, oh, funny.
And basically to us, we were on a list and the list got to us, so.
Right, I knew that.
Yeah, there was a detour. Oh, yeah, from 35. Yeah.
It's,
It's like I love to look at the pictures, but I don't know, it's like,
there's just never, say it,
such a reason, right?
people wait to have children at the right time and never have them, so there's just never.
Yeah, once a month.
For 2 weeks for.
Spray.
We're just growing, just moving.
This is why I have to look at what I heard.
It'll be fine in 2 weeks.
Kind of a natural spray. Okay. Welcome. Yeah.
Started all over, but you're still living remake.
Oh, yeah.
I know, right? You're good.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm just gonna be emotional. I love mascara. Bad idea.
You got the signs done. We had trouble at the dog park entrance. That was not good, so great, but the ones that get us into the park afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, visual, I think she's pushing on
It's my son. Like the daughter over there, Tracy.
I think we are,
How many years ago?
mainstream this? You're gonna mainstream this memorial? So how do you get on there? There's two people that couldn't make it. One's sick and one's there's one that can't,
Jim?
Yep, it's gonna be live streamed on our Bradshaw website. So if they go to his obituary post on our website, they'll be able to watch it right there, or there'll be a link that directs them to YouTube, so they just have to click on that and it'll be. Yeah, we've been doing this quite a bit. So just as a big exact reason. Because of the exact reasons you mentioned. And if they miss it, it still gets uploaded afterwards.
Collection of
I never really looked at
No, that would be with all the files. Yeah, he did all the textiles, anything that has money and verbally and.
That's a 2, 3, and then.
Well, no, that's. Did you know these two guys have come down quite a bit?
We are just waiting for we really appreciate it.
I'm not positive, but
Thank you so much.
this is Tori, my son. My grandson. This is Noah. Chad is in the you're all jury. Oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah, that's good.
I've never met you, but I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like we know each other.
I'm Bob. I'm the one of the ones, many here. We were friends this year.
We dated.
Yeah.
Back in 1997.
My friend Chris.
I might have met once.
How are you?
I was a friend slash dog walker.
The neighbor?
I'm not the neighbor, but I've been a friend for.
Yeah. When did you get retired, damn it?
Yes.
He talked
Yeah,
about you a lot.
likewise. He did. I probably met you years ago. We went to Green Bay once. We had a trip. And I stopped and I
Yeah.
maybe it was your place, one of your kids. I were playing ping pong in the basement. I said that memory.
Yeah.
One of his nephews.
That would be such a nice. Yeah.
That was a big event.
Oh, right now.
It's a big party, a big event.
Well, I think it's like, this
Tell me
is
about the last match.
Thursday. He was working at home.
Did you go to the dollar?
He got a phone call from his supervisor in the HR. And
Yeah,
just told
you
him,
don't have to go to this and then go to the ditch road and it's gonna be on Main Street.
forget this on broadcast.
I know I can search it.
Yeah, but that's just the kind of homes that's going on. It's Bradshaw, so. Okay.
Very nice.
Their nephew and
Okay, so do you have Berkeley now?
Not
Okay.
yet.
Not discriminating. So we picked him up
Yesterday.
yesterday, and we took him, my niece is in bed, so we took him, picked him up and took him to her. And she gave him the whole exam and made sure all the medication, and yeah, we got a
So where was
He's still
Berkeley?
staying with Channing.
Oh, and Shannon's still there?
Yeah, I'm still going over my.
You are still taking him forward, he's still a couple. We inherited him, yes. Yes.
Such a cool place.
Right, so we're still unpacking, so we have, we can have permanent on the 29th, so we're gonna back up in 2 weeks to get him. But for right now, health-wise and everything, all this stuff is up to date and it's all good. She gave him 2 little house and.
4 acres.
Did you, so, okay, that was one of the things, that was more like that, was that invoice that described they got all the vaccinations. She said, honestly, I think you should just bring him in so that I can at least do some blood work and make sure you're not unprepared for him. So she did. It was great. Yes, you did, no, that was just like, all of the stuff. Bob saying that he's taking him. I don't know how often, I don't know that Danny is doing any of that. I don't know. Trying to be really nice here.
Okay, I have a very hard time with that because that's
Right. Well, and I don't really know if it's just because he's so traumatized, but he was so affectionate, like so clean. And I said to Jen, it's like he is just starving for attention. And I think because Thor is there and Thor is such a dominator, I don't think he's
So
getting
patient,
the kind of love that
he and I,
he breaks my heart. I said to Ken, like, I don't want to take him back. And Dad, after him yesterday, I said, I don't want to take him back.
maybe just 3 years ago. Time gets away.
We have responsibilities in the next 2 weeks that won't allow us to take him. And it breaks my heart. When we said we were coming in town, we said, well, we'd like to come in and get reacquainted with Vince and Mark, and we saw him. And they said, I don't want to be traumatized. She said, you guys can come here, you can take him for a walk whenever you feel like. So like, she would have let us run for the whole weekend if there was
I was like, are we going straight or are we going right?
That would be really awesome.
Are you going back to his house at all? Or
We are gonna go and pick him up. We're gonna get him after this, no, like, when we are wrapping it up here.
Yeah, I
He
put
and I
the
are
sign
gonna
thing, but I'll
get
get
him
him.
and take him to the job. For the other rest of the day. That's our plan, and then hopefully we'll even get to swim. So that when they come back, at least you get that kind of exercise. I don't think I don't know if Bob takes him to the dog park to swim, but I don't know that he's.
Oh, yeah, we can, the dogs.
They do.
How often
He
are
was
you
just
taking?
wondering how often he goes for walks.
Oh, well, I go once a week, but if there's other people.
There are still people.
Oh, you said no.
The goal was always
Like
daily.
I thought it was like someone who's supposed to be.
I guess I
Well,
thought.
now he's probably, Channing's probably.
I think she takes them midweek, but I don't know about that.
There's
I asked
one other
her,
person,
and it was over.
I think there was one other person that came back. But I've been trying to.
Well, there's Bob and Jerry.
It affects everything.
That's you, Bob. So she said.
But I guess she's still doing it, but she's on vacation, so.
Yeah, or something.
You know what's interesting, I mean, we're recognized as adults.
Oh, I love everything.
So you were saying during it could be possibly.
Yeah.
Just know everybody just having him in the house and that's, I mean, If you guys wouldn't mind taking a seat, we're gonna get started. We have just a few things we want to talk about.
Okay. Thanks for the offer, that's.
Yes, we'll talk more. Are you gonna go into the dog park?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
2, 3, 4. Here we go. 6, 5, 9, 4.
So good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the celebration of John Paul Lloyd's wonderful but way too short life. To start, I don't know how many of you really know each other, but I thought it might be nice just to have everybody kind of stand up, say who they are and how they know my brother, and maybe have a little bit of, talk about your experience with him. And I'm his sister, Alva, and we have a lot of people here that I haven't met, so if you don't mind doing that, maybe you want to start over here with Bob and Judy?
Come to the mic.
Shereen Kincaid, and Bob met John Paul 4 years ago. They did an internship, and I met him when we got married about 30 years ago. And I also helped, with his cares towards the end.
Thank you. Yeah, you're a nurse, am I right? Yeah.
Well, I'm Bob, I guess I've been introduced. And I had, will we get a chance to speak later too? I had a wonderful 41 years. Just a super friend, beautiful human being. Wonderful. Thank you.
My name's Leo. I lived 2 doors down from John Paul. And I just met him like 3 or 4 years ago when he moved to our neighborhood. But it turns out as we got acquainted, we lived a block apart in the 70s when he moved to Minneapolis, and I moved to Minneapolis about the same time. We worked at the same hospital for many years. I was probably on his unit delivering goods when he was there, and then and he knows many people that I know, and then he wound up being my neighbor, and I had the pleasure of getting to know him real well. And,
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Richard. I'm the brother-in-law married to Elsa, and I was lucky enough to know John for 34 years. A terrific guy, you all know that, and miss him a lot. Everybody does.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I met John Paul quite a few years ago because he became our dog caretaker when we went on trips, and we absolutely loved him. We know that our dog almost hated to come home because John Paul was a very good caretaker.
Was that Shelby?
Selby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Selby. He talked about that dog.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay. He and Selby got along well. And so we became friends, and then when he got sick, I thought it was only fair to reciprocate, so I became a regular Berkeley walker.
Thank you.
So I'm Nick, and I'm Kathy's son, and I met John Paul through my mom, and we shared a love for animals, a deep love for animals and respect for them, and wanting to make sure that they are happy and safe, and so I started walking dogs for him 2, 3 years ago, whenever this started, and he's a Packer fan and I'm a Vikings fan, so we had lots of fun conversations about football, and I love John Paul and I miss him. We had so many differing opinions. I'm, politically totally different, but we still loved each other, and I think that says a lot about somebody. So, Miss John Paul, and this is my friend Christy. She did not know him, so she's probably not going to speak.
I know Berkeley more than I know.
You're standing well.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane. I was John Paul's, I am his ex-wife. We got married when we were pretty young, and we were able to maintain our friendship, and he accepted my new husband into the friendship. He was a wonderful man.
Big heart.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Scott, I'm her current husband. You get to be my age and everything seems like it was 5 years or 20 years ago. So I'm not sure how long it was. But I think our paths crossed with music. I think that was and you know, as I'm sure most of you know, that was an abiding, you know, love he had. And we had the pleasure of taking him out the last time for, I think it was the Caboose. And we had gone with him several times before that, you know what I mean, during his troubles. But I'll never forget him. I'll miss him every day.
Up to you, Amy. I'm Amy. JP and I dated. He said we met through an ad, I don't remember. But when I moved to Cincinnati and we broke up, and then I moved back to the cities, he called me, he says, you know, you're such a good person, there's just not many people in the world you can be friends with. So we remained friends for all these years. And I would try to go dancing with JP, but all the bands started at midnight. So I was always in my pajamas by then. But I just want to say that there's so many people here that have helped John Paul so much. And I'm just so grateful to you for all the things you've done, from walking Berkeley to taking care of his ADLs, I forget what that stands for, activities of daily living, which is really not easy to do. And I'm just so glad to be here, and I'm going to be a mess.
I'm Tracy. I'm married to his nephew Corey. So I've known John Paul for 19 years. He was awesome. He was the best Christmas gift giver ever. Last few years he just bought for the kids, and he took great pride in what he sent them, and he loved them like their own. So we're really going to miss him. He was a big part of our family.
I'm Corey, John Paul's nephew. John and I went to almost every Packer game from 2018 all the way back to 89, somewhere around there. At least one or two a year. That's my biggest and fondest memory of being with him. Sat in the stands with him through wins and losses, cheers. He would bring this green horn. You guys, anyone remember the green horn? Or I'll show you.
Oh yeah.
And that was the cheer on after a score or some great play or whatever happened. And I was with him at his last Packer game. It was really rough. He was in a wheelchair, had to be carried from seat to bathroom to wheelchair and things like that. So, but I was there and it was good. And but I will miss him tremendously. Christmas, always. He always had a knack of picking out the coolest, most personal gift to the gift, to the person that he was giving a gift to. And it would be, I was just telling Bob earlier, it'd be a pair of socks, but he picked them out at L.O. Bean, and it would be perfect for you as an individual if you like to hike, if you were a sports person, whatever it is. And he lived with my mom for a lot of years, and he became pretty much a brother to Chad and I. More you is the time frame, but we spent a lot of quality time together throughout a lot of years, and I was unable to see him a lot recently because of kids and activities and being 4 hours away, but we shared a lot of really special moments. So I miss him, especially his spirit. You know, I wish we could all live with his spirit daily. I know I lack that, and I need to work on that. So, thank you.
I'm Mimi. I'm married to Chad, his nephew. John Paul and I shared a passion for gardening. I didn't think I'd get emotional like this. I loved him like an uncle. The gardening was great. We shared a lot of stories, trying new seeds, experimenting with heirloom things. We both love to dance. And the thing that's probably the most thing you hate about me the most is repurposing things. I can't just use one thing one time. It's just, and John would, I guess, appreciate that. So I will miss him. We got to see him in March, and that was pretty special. Really great visit. So, thank you.
I'm Chad Schrader. I'm a nephew to John Paul and his godson. And, oh man, so my job takes me on this route in northern Michigan on Lake Superior from Marquette to Manistee. And I always wondered why I would think of him along that route, but it's just so beautiful on your way to the pictured rock area and the shoreline and all just the undisturbed nature. Well, of course, that's why I thought of him then. All of his hiking and his trips up north and all of that, he just loved. So good thing it was an hour, because I could never not cry a little, especially the last few years. But is that where you got the repurposing thing from?
Well, I'm not related by blood, just married.
Yeah. So the big brother I never had, through no fault of anyone's. But what a tremendous giving soul in so many ways, honestly. The earth and all of his friendships and relationships, and when we wouldn't agree politically either, we always found a way just to bond before we would go to bed that night or wrap up the discussion. He just always wanted that. One time I was staying with him a couple of years ago, and it was the next morning. It was Monday morning. I was going to go be with my team. I was in the bathroom, and he came to the doorway when he still could and said, I just want to make sure, are we all right? He wanted to make sure we left on a good note, and I just thought that was phenomenal. So we are, the big brother I never had, we are 14 years apart, and yeah, he lived with us for a period of time, and then when he started college at UWGB, you know, if he's 20, and I don't remember the time frame, but we did it for a handful of years when he was either in a local apartment or whatever. In the wintertime, we had this tradition, just he and I. It was just the coolest thing ever. You know, when I'm 6 years old, 5, 6, 7 years old, and we're 14 years apart. What 20-year-old wants to do anything that he's not obligated to do with a 5, 6, 7-year-old? And he would take me tubing on the east side, big, really nice tubing, sledding hill in the winter, and then my great aunt Elta's house was over there, and she had a really gourmet kitchen for the 70s, and we would make chicken enchiladas from scratch, you know, and so I developed a passion for cooking from him, and of course my mother, but just remembering that, you know, why would he do that? That was just tremendous, just an unbelievable thing. So I will miss him terribly, and thanks for the time.
Thank you all very much. Well, of course, I'm John Paul's sister, Ella. John Paul and I are the youngest of 5 siblings. John Paul was born in 1952 when I was 7. So our mother was 47 years old when she had John Paul, which is, for 1952, was most unusual. And it was kind of interesting because I can remember our oldest brother, Jim, 19 years old, bringing this little bundle into the house and me thinking, I'm not the baby anymore. And I just fell in love with him. We all did. So John Paul got his name because our mother converted to Catholic from Lutheran when she married our father. And it just so happened the Catholic Pope that year was Pope John Paul. So you wondered how he got his name? That's how he got it. And he was always really sweet, kind of shy, easygoing, and very loving, even as a little kid. When our father passed away, he was just 6 years old. And our brothers, Jim and Bob, joined the Air Force, and our sister, who was Mary Jo at the time, got married and moved to Chicago. So John and I were buddies. We were the last two at home, and we just clicked. We connected with music. We would play those 48s and 98s down our basement on the record player, which my mom called the hi-fi, and danced and for hours, and had friends over, and this is where we both got our love for music and dance. So when I look back, I realize how much we really shared. We were buddies. Our mother had a tough time after she lost her husband, raising kids, and so John and I kind of really bonded and pretty much kind of fended for ourselves at the time. In 1979 is when John began working at Hennepin County Medical Center. So he made Minneapolis his home. I mean, that's a lot of years to live in a city like this. And he really did love the Twin Cities. He loved the nightlife, of course, the music, of course. This is where he went to college, graduated from nursing school, made tons of friends, of course, and made a great life here. He really did love the cities, but he still loved Green Bay. His love for his dogs, his family, his friends, and the Green Bay Packers was endless. What I've always loved about him was his spirit and his passion. He got involved in causes that he believed in. He was gentle, honest, compassionate, and generous. JP would get very animated when he spoke about something that he was really, really passionate about, and I loved that about him. We had many, many discussions that lasted well into the morning hours about family, religion, politics. I miss those talks and his funky little grin that he'd get when he wanted me to know that he was right. I will miss him so much. He was my little brother and my dear friend. Thank you. John Paul kind of blessed us with a poem that Mimi has agreed to read for us. He did love poetry.
The poem is called On the Midnight Howl, Final Prowl by John Paul Roy, May 2017. As I walked by the blue light, it seems to be suspicious and flash in my eye. It portends to tell me of my coming time to die. With cobwebs in my hair and dirt under my fingernails, sand in my shoes, I start to become the earth, incorporating all the musk and smells. The dog lurches and screams towards the rabbit, escaping into the night. You put this disease upon me, whatever God is in the sky, or anywhere for that matter. I strive like the dog, day in and out, but it's not like before. My nervous passion is gone, my essence blighted, my spirit now bleary. I live through the dog now, with eyes wide and teeth flashing. I say, look to that, and you'll see me with the crazy desire to haunt the woods and never look back, and swim in the primordial seas only found in dreams.
Well done, Mimi. Thank you. I just have one more thing that I found that I thought was so appropriate. And if I can stop my nose from running, I'll do it. I don't think these masks are good when you have a cold or have tears. So I found this and I really thought it was appropriate. Not how did he die, but how did he live? Not what did he gain, but what did he give? These are the units to measure the worth of a man as a man, regardless of birth. Not what was his church, nor what was his creed, but had he befriended those really in need? Was he ever ready with word of good cheer? To bring back a smile, to banish a tear? not what did the sketch in the newspaper say, but how many were sorry when he passed away. So thank you guys. If anybody would like to come up and say a few words, you're more than welcome. I would encourage it if you'd like to.
Oh, sure. Is this on here?
It is.
Kind of need a microphone. Yeah, like I said, it was 41 wonderful years of a friendship, and there were some ways that we really, really connected. And one of the first ones I remember was, we were both in the helping professionals, so social services, I'm a social worker. And we ended up starting together and then worked in different areas of it. But he retired a little bit before I did. I'm still kind of not retired, but he had passion for that and passion for people and understood what it is to help people help themselves and in the most non-judgmental way. You know, he really, really understood. But the other thing is, well, we were in a dormitory in our internship, and we both brought huge boxes of records, you know, the 12-inch albums and whatever, and so we had a lot in common about music. And like I say now, he's like a human Wikipedia. Nobody ever heard of it then, but he just knew about so many things. Now, I'm a jazz musician in my other life, and he's come to hear me with groups playing and things like that. But I swear he knows so much more about all the artists, and you know, we've gone to hear a lot of them too when they come into town. And you know, I may know how to play, but he knows way more about the history, the jazz history, and you know, and the artists. And we always went to the jazz festivals every year together. And bicycling, he really got me into bicycling years ago. We did many of the trails in Minnesota together, and we did a camping trip to Taylor's Falls once. I'll never forget that. He was so patient, he wouldn't get too far ahead of me. And I left, he liked to sleep later than I did, even with camping. So we worked it out that I left about 2 or 3 hours earlier. And we met in Stillwater on the way back. And I thought, oh, I'll have a few hours here to rest. But he was there, and he was like there in about an hour after I got there. Wow. So we timed that really well. But yeah, he just was such a considerate, and during those difficult times when, you know, when he was losing his, he was so graceful, he was losing his capacities, especially starting with the arms, and then, you know, he couldn't grip things, he couldn't put one of the hardest things was not being able to put the leash, you know, on the collar, but he invented all these things and used technology. I mean, he didn't give up. He was going to stay in that house and take care of Berkeley and be with his friends, and that's what he did. And he did it well and very innovative. I mean, I know that some of his healthcare professionals were probably saying, well, you know, you really ought to start thinking that maybe you should be in a facility with, but no, he knew what he was doing. And that was him. He was really an amazing person. So there's so many other things I can talk about, but I agree with what everybody said about his spirit and passion for life, and I'm really, really gonna miss him, and I'll miss Berkeley too. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to say a little 5-sentence, little tribute in my own words. John, your spirit was welcomed into heaven with open arms. Your philanthropy left imprints on everyone, every animal, and every being you engage with. Your love for a healthy life will never be matched. Your love for the Packers was always contagious. You are already and will be sadly missed by many. Run, hike, play with your dogs, again, as you did before this horrible disease took over. See you again someday, and we will play catch from cloud to cloud. Love you and miss you, Uncle John. Rest in peace, JP.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to give one example. Alta mentioned that John Paul was generous, and I learned a lesson in generosity from him. When we still didn't know him very well, but he had taken care of our dog maybe 2 or 3 times, and we paid him for the service, and then we came the next time to pick up our dog, and he said, I don't want money. I just love your dog. I just love Selby. That's my payment. And I just thought, you know, what person doesn't take money for a service, even if you have enough? I don't know. So it was a lesson to me in doing something out of love rather than needing to be paid. And I've never forgotten that.
Thanks everybody for all your words and memories, and you know, we're all going to miss you, we know that. He certainly was loved. So, well, we're going to move. We're going to go to dog park, and we're going to, John, of course, was cremated, and we're going to have an ash spreading ceremony there. So hopefully everybody will be able to join us. Hopefully you all have the itinerary, you know what we're doing, and after that, we're going to, I think it's Robin, if I'm saying it right, Park, and we're going to have a little pizza party outside with nature, just like John would have loved. So, thank you very much.
There is some signage at both Wobbin and we did put something at the beginning, but everybody's pretty much been walking Berkeley, so everybody knows where the dog park is. We probably have the most difficulty. But yeah, maybe we try to gather across the road from the entrance and maybe go as a group so we don't, it's a big park, right?
Under the little shelter thing?
That's
right
across the street?
Across the street.
Sure. Fair enough.
And where are you guys thinking of parking? Because it's
mobbed, so wherever you can.
Yeah, it was so busy when we put the signs up. I don't know. I think grab a spot when you can get one.
Yeah, and we have to pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are quarters. Wobbin is, yeah. Wobbin is free.
There is, I never pay for parking there, and I go there quite a bit, but now I'm giving my secret away. You have to go, well, you can. This is an option if you don't have money. You can park across Hiawatha.
The highway, yeah.
Okay, so that's right. There's a little neighborhood back there. It's
Yes,
not
we did
pay.
that. Yep.
I hate paying parking
Across the street.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did that.
we did that
It's a
once.
busy street, but
We didn't request it.
Got to bring that mask.
And I wouldn't know how to do that now.
And parking is free at the park.
At the park.
At Wobbin, yeah.
And it's close to the shelter too, right? The way I saw it on the map, the parking.
oh yeah, Jason.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's right up to it.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I've never been there, so.